Hi, I'm Ben, I like Kill Team, and I want to talk about it. So I started playing Kill Team back in the year of our Lord 2020, and I was pretty bad at it. I was watching videos, consuming content, trying to understand what makes a good kill team, how you play this game well, how you score points, how you build a good list. But man, the truth is, I was just bad. So then I started a YouTube channel talking about this game because I like it and like talking about it so much. And people are asking me questions and I'm giving people advice, but I'm still just real bad at the game. But then I started going to my local game store, playing a bunch of new people, a bunch of new teams, going to my first couple tournaments. And this is when I really discovered how truly bad I was at Kill Team. And somewhere along the way, I started to suck a little bit less over time and went from playing on my kitchen counter very poorly to this year, man, ended up winning a golden ticket to go to the World Championships in Atlanta. And thinking about it, I'm not quite sure how I got there. And I see a lot of people online frustrated, asking questions. I see it on Reddit and Facebook, and people send me messages and just looking for advice. And they're all everything is phrased a little bit differently. But the heart of the question is, how do I get better at Kill Team? Or as I like to say, how do I suck a little bit less? And I've got a few ideas for you. So before we get to these tips, you have to decide something, right? Would you like the red pill or the blue pill? Do you actually want or care about getting good at Warhammer? Because if you think about it, getting good at Warhammer is really a silly thing. Like, I'm a fan of improvement. I'm a fan of, bettering yourself. But let's be honest, like, putting your resource points into getting good at Kill Team or Warhammer in general, it's kind of a silly thing. It's a fun thing, but at the heart of it, like, it's pretty silly. If even the thought of thinking about percentages to kill and punching in numbers in the Kill Team calculator, if even just thinking about that makes you a little sick and grosses you out, because it's not a very cool thing to think about, then maybe you actually don't want or care about getting good. And that's 100% okay. If you just want to roll dice and do zany things and have cool thematic moments and play wonky narrative missions and just push things around and have a great time with your buds, like, don't waste your time on getting good. Just play games and be okay with getting stomped every once in a while. Take it in stride and just keep tanking along, man, and you will be better for it. So you got to decide, do you actually care about getting good? Or are you receiving pressure from maybe the online community or just, the zeitgeist at large, like, to get good? Because don't take that pressure on if it's not something you care about. That'd be my biggest piece of advice here is, choose this day who you will serve. Will you serve the Sweat Lords, or will you serve the narrative, cool, fun moments that you might have at your kitchen table with your best buds? Make up your mind. There is truly no wrong answer. Now, if you are like me and you're not naturally good at this game, and you do care about getting good, because maybe a little sweat lord yourself, here's some tips for you. Number one is understanding that this is a game of points. It is essentially, at its heart, points team. Now, sometimes you get those points by killing, but it is points. So you just got to think about it, break it down. 6 points on primary, 6 points on secondary, 6 points on kill op, right? And so if you think about it, it is a game of how do I try to get to 18, potentially 21 points, and how do I keep my opponent from scoring theirs? And so when you're on the table, you need to set up thinking, okay, here's my game plan for this. I'm gonna go currently, like, my game plan is I'm gonna crush the tac op, I'm gonna crush the kill op, and I'm going to sort of get what I can on primary. Now, I think you have some agency this edition where you can say, man, actually, I'm going to dominate the mission, I'm going to dominate the tac op, but I'm not going to leave things up to kill op. And so you have some agency there, but go in with a game plan and think, okay, I'm going to crush these and I'm going to do okay at this. It's kind of my, process right now. But ideally, you crush all three. And so when you set up on the table, you think, okay, how do I get my 18 points? And each activation should be motivated by, is it better for me to tap this point? Is it better for me to drop this token? Is it better for me to go get a double kill? And depending on the board state and what you're up against, the answer is always going to be different. So you just have to understand, okay, what's going to get me the most points? What's going to deny my opponent their points? And so when you look at it this way and break it down into 6 points for primary, 6 points for secondary, 6 points for kill op with a potential 3 more, it just sort of opens, it's sort of like looking into the matrix a little bit. And so I remember the first time I started thinking about it that way last edition, and things sort of opened up for me in that way. And so number one, it is points team. Understand how to score those points. Number two is go to tournaments. Show up to whatever tournament you can get yourself to. Show up with a great attitude and go get stomped a couple of times. Go get butt stomped a couple of times. And you will learn so much. I try to tell new players this all the time. I was just making this pitch yesterday. Is, man, if you will play 3-4 games in a day, maybe potentially up to 7 games over a weekend if you're playing at an event. And that's like, man, that's like a month's worth of games or more. Like, it's more games than I play in a month, really. And so if you can go to a tournament, and there's something about that repetition back to back that just sort of carves these paths into your mind, where the first game you're going to go up and you're just going to get wrecked, maybe, because you went into a player who's better than you, and that's exactly what you want. And you realize, oh, actually, I made these mistakes here. I'm going to change it for the next game. And then, boom, happens again. I realized what I did wrong there. I'm going to fix that next time. And so after each game, ask the person that stomped you, hey, you got any input for me? Like, hey, what did I do right in that matchup? What did I do wrong in that matchup? And if that feels a little like, direct, you can change the phrasing a little bit and say, oh man, that wasn't quite as close as I wanted it to be. Like, man, you think you can give me some pointers? Like, do you know much about just whatever it is? Get some feedback and take it and like check your ego at the door and internalize it, and you're gonna get better. Another great benefit of going to tournaments is you're gonna make friends. Like, call me, it's kind of wild, but sitting across the table from a person for 2 hours, if you're cracking jokes, again, I like to crack jokes at tournaments, and nobody ever laughs at them, but I like to crack them. It's like sitting across the table from somebody for 2 hours is sort of a good recipe to get to know this person a little bit. And so you're gonna make 4 friends at minimum if you go to a tournament, right? And then guess what? Next time you see them in a tournament, you know each other because you sat across each other for 2 hours. That's a friend. And then you go to the next tournament, make 4 new friends at least, and you're hanging out with their friends. And it is just a great way to get into the community, widen your community, widen sort of your perspective on Kill Team. So go to tournaments. It's maybe the most important thing you can do if you want to get good. Number 3 is to be intentional. Now, if you're like me, you might not get as many games in as you would like. And so I average about maybe 1 or 2 games in a week most of the time, and that's a lot more than other people. And so some of you might be thinking, man, I only get 1 game in a month. And so this tip is for you. And so, but I see some folks who are grinding on TTS, grinding at the local game store, and like, man, I am a husband, I'm a dad, I got 2 kids. And so oftentimes the choice for me is, okay, after work, do I want to go to the local game store and get some games and hang out and have a good time? Or do I want to go home and help my wife cook dinner and do the dishes and put the kids to bed and read a book to my kids because they've been wanting to see me all day? And like, man, that's the easiest choice in the world. And so I don't get as many games in as I would like to, but all the games that I do play, I'm very intentional about what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to learn, how do I maximize the most improvement, how can I get the most out of this game? So when I sit down to play Kill Team, and I do it with purpose, and that purpose could be, I'm gonna try out security this time, or I'm gonna test out, I'm gonna see how aggressive can I actually be with new legionaries and still be able to, not die and hit the front lines, like whatever it is, like just do it intentionally, do it with a purpose, be improving. Don't just rock up and if you can't get as many games in as you want, and you want to get good or try to get good or suck less, then you got to be intentional. And it's not a bad thing that you play less games. And so like something that I pride myself on is like kind of like a little badge, like, man, feel kind of cool about it, is when you play someone who's been crushing grinding games and you play them in a tournament or something and you end up winning, even though you play less games, like, yeah, it feels good. It feels good. I like that. And so to do that, you got to be intentional. You have to be mindful and purposeful, very demure about your Kill Team games. God, that feels gross. So be intentional. Don't play willy-nilly. Play for a purpose, whatever that purpose might be. But you got to improve somehow. Focus on your TAC ops. Focus on a new strategy. Play a different team to try something out. Just be intentional. By the way, when you play intentionally and play with a purpose, like, I am never all business when I'm playing Kill Team, right? Like I am a mullet when I'm playing. I'm the mullet of Kill Team. business up front, party in the back, and we're mostly party in the back. And so keep it light, have a great attitude, crack jokes. Like, again, this is a social exchange we're having here. It should be enjoyable. So even though you're playing intentionally and playing competitively, man, still be a fun opponent, still have a great time. So keep that in mind. Be a good opponent. Number 4 ties in with number 3 is to play the best players that you can in your area. A great way to plateau in any arena, like Kill Team, or for example, music. Right? I've been playing music my whole life. And so a great way to plateau and not get any better is to play the same style of music all the time. It's to play with the same couple of people all the time. And you just sort of get into this rut, into this groove, and you're going to get pretty good at it, but you're not going to expand, you're not going to widen your spectrum, and so you're going to sort of get stuck. And same thing happens with Kill Team, right? And so when I see this all the time, man. Players who only play their buddy at the kitchen table, players who only play that one guy at their local game store and don't play other people, you're just not going to improve. You're gonna learn that matchup and learn that opponent really well. But man, that's not good enough if you want to go to tournaments, want to do okay, want to suck less. So you have to find the best. It's kind of like, you ever see in the movies where somebody goes to jail and they punch the biggest, toughest guy they can. Like, this is the version of that in Kill Team. But instead of punching them, you're just very nice to them and ask them to play a game of Kill Team. Like, man, go right up to the baddest player at your local game shop and say, hey man, I'm sort of new at Kill Team, or I've been playing for a little while, but I'm trying to get better. Can we get a game in? Like, unless they are a heartless, soulless, cruel, vile monster, of wickedness, they're going to say, yeah, absolutely, let's get a game in. And if they are a cruel, wicked, vile, soulless monster, hey, you found that out. You dodged that bullet quick, right? So find the best people in your area and play. That is, you're just going to get better that way. It's simple. Like, you go to tournaments and you play good people, man, I love. Some people talk about, and you do the classic submarine thing at tournaments, which is where you score low on purpose early to dodge the good players. Like, man, I want to go into the good players, like the really good players, man, as soon as I can, because I want to get stomped. Like, ideally, I want to win, but like playing someone who's a total crusher, it's like, man, I excited that I get to play this person, see how they do things, improve. Like, again, to me, that is, I'm going to get better off of this matchup. So don't be intimidated. Play people who are good. Play the crushers. Play the killers. You're going to get better. Now, this last one sounds a little dumb, because it is kind of dumb. And it is to think about the game when you're not playing it. And so you're a person who has a life. You have interesting things that you're interested in outside of Kill Team. And wasting some of that time thinking about Kill Team is kind of lame. And it straight up is. But if you, again, especially if you cannot play a ton of Kill Team, if you can sort of keep your mind thinking about Kill Team, just in the background, like not when you should be doing other things, not sacrificing other stuff, but when you're not playing Kill Team, if you're thinking, if you're at work and you're thinking, oh man, next time I play into Angels of Death, I'm actually going to try this strategy. Or like thinking, just reminiscing, like, man, what did I, just thinking about that game. It's like, man, I lost that game. That's been bugging me. Why did I lose that? What can I do differently? Like, if you were thinking about the game, thinking about different combos, like, man, maybe I should, drop maybe a gunner in this matchup actually isn't worth, like, whatever it is. If you're thinking about the game when you're not playing it, you're kind of priming your brain a little bit to when you are playing, man, boom, you're not thinking about it at the table. You sort of, the best way I can think about it is you're kind of priming your mind a little bit on the things of Kill Team and marinating in a brain stew of Kill Team, if you will. And so it's lame. Like, it's not cool. None of this is cool. Like, let's be very honest. Like, people who are good at Warhammer, not the cool people. The cool people are playing at the narrative table. The cool people are hanging out playing Necromunda and, all these kind of things. And so getting good is not cool. This is not a how to be cool recipe. This is a how to, suck a little bit less. And so thinking about the game when you're not playing it is not a cool thing. But man, if you want to get better, you just kind of have to do it. You have to think about it. And so, you have to decide, man, do I want to designate X% of my brain juice to Kill Team when I'm into all these cool, exciting things outside of this? And so if the answer is yes, the answer is no. That's only you can answer that. And there is absolutely no wrong answer. But you have to decide, man, do you care or do you not care? And if you don't care, man, don't care with reckless abandon. Care less than anyone has ever cared. Roll dice and have fun and play a bunch of different games. But if you do care, care with reckless abandon and think about it. And this whole thing is, you have to figure out, how in do I want to be? And sometimes the answer is not very in. Sometimes the answer is all the way in, baby. And I have found myself over time going in deeper than I ever thought I would. And so these are some of my tips that I can offer from someone who is naturally not good at Warhammer. Some tips I can offer you, maybe someone who is also not good at Warhammer. And in this journey of sucking less, man, I've had a lot of fun. I've made a ton of good friends, and you talk to a bunch of cool people every week. And you know, by getting in and playing tournaments and being active in the community, like, man, the benefits of that, I say it's not cool, but the benefits of that, man, I have friends all over the world now that I never would have had otherwise. I have good buds that I talk to weekly and sometimes daily, and that is all because of this journey to suck less on Kill Team and being active in the community. That's another little, a bonus tip is hop on the Discords, be active, ask questions, you know, say, man, I played a game against Crew today and I lost. Gosh, I can't believe that. Like, there's no ego here. Like, just have a good time with your buds, be honest, and be active in the community. That's a bonus tip. And so there's many good byproducts of that. And one of those is, man, lots and lots of new friends that you would never have made otherwise. So Warhammer is awesome. There's many different ways you can enjoy it. And you got to decide, do you care about being good or do you not care? And both are fine. Figure it out for you. Let me know in the comments where you land. Are you somewhere in the middle? Because there's also, this sort of daywalker that walks both lanes. It is kind of good, but kind of doesn't care. And like, man, that's probably the true Chad is someone who's, you know. And so like there are many. This is a spectrum. This is not clear black and white. This is a spectrum. And let me know where you fall on that spectrum. Do you care about being good? Do you not care? Do you love playing at a kitchen counter with bullcrap terrain and just having fun with your buds and mates? Let me know in the comment below. And if these tips were helpful, also let me know. This is just some of what I can muster from someone who's not good at Warhammer. So thank you so much for watching and checking this out. I got some more videos coming on the way. Kill Team's awesome. I got Worlds coming up, and I'm prepping for that. I might do a video on the team I'm taking to that. We'll see. It all depends. We're living in crazy town right now in the early days of Kill Team. Man, up is down, left is right. Who knows what's going on? I'm pretty excited. So thank you for watching. It is 6:49 in the morning, and I have to play a game of Kill Team before work starts because that's how I get my games in. I'll talk to you later.